David Hornsby with Mythic Quest. Thank you for sitting down with me today. How are you?
Sure, doing well, doing well. Thanks for having me.
Excellent. Excellent. So you write and co-star in Mythic Quest on Apple TV Plus. How did the quarantine evolve the second season from what the original design was?
It affected it a lot, actually. Originally we did that quarantine episode last year, 2020, and we just thought, well, we'll do this while we have some downtime, and it lets us all work and bring in the whole crew, and we can really all try to be challenged here. What an interesting challenge! But let's get it out fast because this thing might be over soon, and we want to make sure it's relevant. And little did we know it was a year later. So really had to take stock of what we were planning on for season two, and we had already started filming the premiere episode of season two when we had to shut down. So we basically threw that script out and decided to do Everlight, which was we had that story, but we decided to make it into, it felt more right as the premiere, and to really embrace and rewrite it as a way to sort of put the COVID era, address it, and then put it in sort of the rear view mirror so we could move forward.
Excellent. So moving more towards your performance as David, how does David tick against all the antagonism that he faces in that workplace? What keeps him going?
Well, we all have hope, don't we?
Yeah.
I think I think ultimately he's a good boss. He's good at his job, I should say. The part of being a boss is always tricky, as we all know, when you want to be a friend and like an ally and friend to the creatives, and also the boss. So he is that middle ground where he's the bridge builder, right? So he's got the corporate entity in Montreal that he's trying to make happy, but he's also saying, as he says a lot of times, I got your back. That's my bag. I support creative, he says all the time. So it's hard to do both. I think that's the sort of fun conflict, is to stay on time and on budget, and also I support creative. And I think the video game world is a world much like entertainment, which is sort of a cult of personality. It's someone with a vision who they're going to put a lot of money behind to build these games. And my character is caught up in this world that is creating the game, right? He's there with Ian, he's there with Poppy, but he also has to report to the people that only care about the numbers and the data, and sort of getting things on time and on budget. So but I think ultimately he has hope, and he is good at what he does. He just has to, I think, navigating it is where the conflict comes in.
Right. So when I talked to Rob McElhenney about the character of Ian, he talks about putting on the rings, that that outfit kind of helps him find that character a little bit. What is that key into David for you?
Ironically, for me, it's taking off the ring. Because
Right.
I am married,
Yep.
and so really the main difference is just taking the ring off, and I go from David Hornsby, executive producer, to David Brittlesbee, executive producer. And so it's really, I've started to absorb my costume. I'm just like, I'll just wear what I got, let's just roll. No, but it's in a way, it's a heightened version of myself and our dynamic, in a sort of, obviously in a hopefully funny way. I think the fun thing about the show, and being on the show with Rob and Megan, working with them, the sort of the three of us working together so much, is there is so many things that mirror the show. The show behind the show is very much like the show in certain ways, in fun ways. So we sort of have fun with that. Sometimes what's going on backstage gets brought into the show. So that's where it's sort of fun. We make fun of myself behind the scenes, and then also just decide to, well, let's just say that on camera too.
So where does the one of the things I love about David the most is when he's talking, all of a sudden there's still that voice crack, like he's a 30, late 30, 40 something year old man. And there's that voice crack
Hmm.
happens, that really high pitched voice crack. Is that something that you do, or is that something that you're putting in there purposefully?
That's me acting.
Okay.
That's the
Excellent.
training. Yeah.
Yes.
No, that's just sometimes some overacting happening,
No, it works
which there's supposed
beautifully.
to be a sensor that goes off when I start it, but if I get too high, the sound guys, rip off the headphones and are like, ah, Jesus. So no, yeah, it's I'm working on that, and can we zoom in my acting coach? Actually, this is actually good to get some live feedback
Okay.
here.
Excellent.
No, so yeah, no, that's, it's certain traits of the character, but yeah, the high pitched voice just comes naturally.
Okay. Perfect. I mean, it's absolutely perfect for this character. Um, which leads me to my next question, because David is somebody that you both laugh at and you care about intensely. You empathize with him quite a bit. How do you achieve that balance as an actor?
Well, I think it's like casting. I would say, to take it off me and put it to someone else, is that when we cast Charlotte as Poppy,
Mhm.
I think one of the struggles we were having with Poppy, although we saw so many great actors and for the part, is just trying to figure out the character, and I think we wanted her to be able to have that ego and that narcissism that we see very clearly with Diane, but we needed to find the right actor for it, and I think with when we found Charlotte, we were like, oh, she can be mean and she's just still likable. And the
Mhm.
same thing with Brad. Brad could easily have been, frat guy kind of archetype. And we found Danny, and he's actually just such a nice and likable, charismatic person. And then with my character, I think just the likability that I have is clear as day. I mean, it's no, I mean, it's fun when you get to write for yourself. So, but for those characters, I would say that's, for my character, it's easier because I'm a bit of the doormat in some instances, obviously, in all instances, frankly. But I think it's easier to like someone who has an ego like Poppy, or is mean, can be sometimes strategic and Machiavellian like Brad. Those are where the casting really comes into play, of finding the right person that can make that can elevate that material.
Talking about Poppy and Ian, most of the second season has them sort of working together, but there's an increasing chasm between them. There's an increasing split
Hmm.
as the season goes along. Obviously, there is some very explicit references to this being like mom and dad getting divorced again to you, right? To David. But does that infer your, without being too actorly in this question, does that infer your performance throughout the whole second season? Is that paranoia and that anxiety about their eventual obvious split?
Well, I mean, if you're asking, yes, my parents are divorced.
No.
I'm not, though, so that's good. No, so I think it's, I mean, my character is the can be sort of wears his heart on his sleeve, his emotions on his sleeve, and the stakes on his sleeve. So I think it's a fun way to bring his personal life into the office, right? So even though they're talking about the expansion, it's always the fun thing to find what is personal and likable about each character. And I think for my character is that you root for him despite his circumstances. I have to negotiate these two egos, right? And I'm sort of stuck in the middle, trying to be, and maybe I've always been, in a sense, in my life, the bridge builder. So it's fun to discover how the personal backstory of my own character can play in, and we can get some comedy out of that.
Yeah, absolutely. So I want to talk a little bit about the episode. I'm blanking on the name of the episode, but it's the episode where it's
Mm-hmm.
almost like a Breakfast Club reference, where you're all quarantined
Yeah,
in
please
that.
sign here.
Please sign here. Yes, yes. So first of all, did you ever for a second think that David would actually be a wolf?
You never know what you're gonna. I've done some weird stuff,
Yeah.
on television, so you never know what you're gonna get into. So I wouldn't put it past it. No, I mean, I think that was the fun of that episode, right? So the premise is that we've all, and this was actually this idea, the nascent sort of idea of it came from the kernel came um, from the producers that we work with at Ubisoft, Jason, Danielle, who basically said, we had this personality test that we did, which is pretty standard. We kind of wanted to do a bottle episode, which is an episode all takes place in the office. And when we found out about that, it was based on something that they did, where they found out, I think they went on a company retreat, they found out their personalities via animals. And we just thought, well, that's real, right? So
Yeah.
So even just those little working with Ubisoft, which helps bring credibility just in terms of not just their name, but in the application of, hey guys, is this right? What goes on the screen right here, to how does it work in the dynamics of your office, to even that idea. It was a fun way to bring in something that is true, and obviously making myself the wolf is a sort of plays at the opposite and gives me the chance. It's fun to play cocky, right? So for at least for my character to empower the powerless and see what they do with that.
Yeah, that was one of my very favorite moments for David, where he's got the leather jacket and the boots, and he's trying to be like Judd Nelson. If you excuse the Breakfast Club references, he's trying
No,
to be
hey,
Judd
listen,
Nelson.
you
But
just lost half the audience because they don't know who you're talking about. But
well, they should go and check that
I
out.
got you. I
They
got you.
should check that out. What were some of your favorite moments for David over the second season?
Well, the wolf certainly comes to mind, just because I got to do I got to put my hair in a mohawk, and that was inspired by the fact that Rachel Ashley's character in Everlight has that very cool haircut. I don't know if you remember, but she has sort of spiky hair, and I was sort of joking that I should have the exact same haircut. I think we did a take where she said, are you doing my hair from Everlight? And I was sort of playing off. But so that was a lot of fun, because that was just behind the scenes, me, certainly there's me trying to crack people up, basically, how intoxicated I was with this power. And so just there were so many takes where we just were breaking up and had to cut, just because it was so fun. So I would say the wolf is definitely one. And then the finale actually was one that was really fun. There's a nice scene. I don't know if you've seen the entire thing, but there's a nice scene that I have a one-on-one scene with Joe. And then another highlight was working with F. Murray Abraham. And that goes for, in front and behind the camera, where I worked a lot on that episode with him and William Hurt. And so just to be able to be around some great actors and share a scene with them, and then sometimes just be there to watch them behind the camera was great.
It's funny. I watched it sequentially. I didn't know anything about what was going to happen. I didn't know any guest stars that were going to happen through the season. And I'm get to that backstory episode, and where it's the CW's backstory, of course, and he's acting against that other guy whose name, like Peter, was it Peter? I don't remember.
Peter,
yeah, Peter. And I said, that guy sounds so much like William Hurt. And then there he is the next episode. I'm like, I was stunned. I was like, it actually ended up being William Hurt in an older.
Wait, are you saying that when you saw the episode, the backstory episode?
Yeah, I thought that kid reminds me of a young William Hurt.
He reminded you. I see what you're saying. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Wow. We got to get you in the casting room. Get you
there early.
Absolutely
would love
because
to.
You got an instinct.
Yeah. So fingers crossed there's a third season. Where do you want to take David?
Well, I think what's fun about our show is that we're able to, the more, comedies, the more you get to know the characters, the deeper you understand them, the more you can enjoy how they're going to react in the situation comedy that it is. At the same time, with our show, we're able to have an arc more and bring the characters places they haven't been before, into uncharted territory. So I think it would be nice to see David get some agency in a way that maybe gives him a little bit of gravitas. So that voice, bring that voice down a few decibels. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And see, I mean, even if it's a matter of seeing some dramatic storyline in some respect, just to see something different. It's how you might not expect to see a dramatic storyline from David's character, but I think just finding more fun, but also some of that fun can come in the form of doing something we haven't done before with.
Awesome. Well, I very much look forward to, again, fingers crossed, we get a third season. So
Yeah.
I think those are all the questions I have for you today. Thank you so much, David. I'm happy
You're
you're healthy.
welcome.
I'm happy you're married, and all of that.
Me too.
All right.
All right. Well,
You
thanks
take
so
care.
much. Really appreciate it. Okay.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.